Hey, hustlers, welcome to episode number 40 of the Hustle Show. My name is Christian Ariola, and I'm going to be your host today, where we have real, no filter conversations with successful entrepreneurs about the harsh reality that nobody told you about being an entrepreneur. Thank you so very much for tuning in on today's episode. We have another amazing story from Frank Salas from Talented Mr. Salas. So I'm super excited to jump on this episode because this dude is crushing it out there. He's founded several multiple companies, but not only that, he has a lot of stories to share with us today. So I'm thrilled to have everybody here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And before we begin with our interview today, I want to make sure that you hit the subscribe button right now. Whether you're listening this on our podcast audio experience or the YouTube channel, just hit that subscribe button right now. Otherwise, I'm going to be pretty upset with you. So just hit it. And let's start hearing those stories. Frank, welcome to the show.
Yo, hey, Christian, thank you so much for having me. What up, Hustle Show and the Hustle Show family? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're thrilled, man. You know, we love hearing and seeing how those amazing stories that are out there. You know, I see you all over social media. I've actually been following you for quite some time. I don't even remember how we connected, but it was something related to El Paso. I remember you were talking about some family that you have down here, and that's how we actually connected. So it's exciting that, you know, we actually ended up recording an episode.
Yeah, man. I find that, social media puts like-minded people just in the right path, and you're able to grow, collaborate, and experience life together. I think it's an amazing thing.
Yes, definitely. So talk to me, guide me a little bit. What's the story behind the Talented Mr. Salas? How was that beginning? Why did you even start a company, bro? Take me back to those hustling days.
Yeah, man. So let's go backtrack to the hustling days. So first and foremost, I'm 30 right now at the time of this recording. I started my first business when I was 20, and it wasn't the Talented Mr. Salas or any of my other businesses. It was actually a spray tanning business here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. And it was the first of its kind. And it was, new, innovative. I liked it. I learned a lot from it, and it allowed me to grow that entrepreneurial skill. And I've since then used those skills to start multiple companies. I've had a real estate company, a gaming company, got an outsourcing company, a graphic design company, a marketing company, a social media company, a pay-per-click company, all kinds of different companies out there who do investing, real estate, developments, international. I'm a licensed realtor here in Texas. So I'm definitely involved in a bunch of different areas. We also have a recruiting business that we have over here. So my experience as an entrepreneur has allowed me to take that experience and then start companies at will. So whenever I start a business, I love to think of it with scale in mind. Always, how can I scale this business? And I know that when I first start a business, when I'm in the hustle mode or the hustle days, I know that it's going to be really lean, and I really thrive on this concept, which is MVP. Minimum viable product. I want to know what is the minimum amount of resources that I can put out into the marketplace for us to get money back. Then once I have that, I have what's called a proof of concept. And with that proof of concept, I'm then able to go to the marketplace and then scale. So yeah, man, as far as your question, the Talented Mr. Salas became a consulting business from people asking. People are asking us, hey, how are you getting these leads for your other businesses? And I was like, oh, you're curious to find out how I'm making money from how I'm generating my leads? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. I thought every business owner knew how to generate leads from social media. I thought they read the same blogs as I did. I thought they invested in their advertising like I did. I thought they watched all the webinars. And I just thought that was what entrepreneurs did. But the more and more I got to know entrepreneurs, even the more successful ones, they weren't doing those kinds of things. And I was learning some really super specialized knowledge, and this was marketable. I knew there was some value there, but I didn't know how to sell it. I'd never been a consultant before. I always had a business where we gave you some kind of product or you got some kind of service from us. And I've never traded knowledge or agency type of services. So for me, it was really difficult to understand that business model. And when I was doing this, I was a licensed realtor, and what was really driving me to start this Talented Mr. Salas consulting business and go online and put myself out there was I was making money from the real estate practice. I was doing a lot of transactions every single month, but I had a job. So if you're self-employed, you don't own a business, you own a job. If I stopped working, I stopped making money. And I realized, okay, I need to make myself become a business owner. I need a system, I need processes, I need staff, and I need to grow that way. But first, I need money. So what's the fastest way for me to go out to the marketplace and make money from this? So I went on social media. I learned social media marketing. I put myself out there and I offered my services to people after helping them. They started responding. And for me, because I'd done this so many times in that business, it was, a successful month. We had a 5-figure month, which for me was rather low coming from real estate to come into that. So, my struggles, or everyone has different hustles or different struggles or whatever that is. At my point in time, for me, getting a low 5-figure monthly income was kind of struggling. I was like, man, how am I going to pay for all my stuff? And, order pizza on Friday night. It just wasn't, it wasn't going to go down. So for me, that was tough. And what allowed me to go through those was just to stay consistent. I remember if I did these many phone calls or if I outsourced these many emails, I was going to get X amount of leads in. And I now had a system. I now had a revenue machine. We had leads coming in. From those leads, we'd have a certain amount of sales calls. And then from those sales calls, a certain amount of people would blow up and work with us. So that was kind of my process. So I don't know how deep you want to go into that. I'm going to let you guide me there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's intriguing to hear more about your tactics. But before I do, I want to hear, back in the day when you were trying to hustle to get those funds and try to get that, initial money going, because at the beginning it's hard. I mean, you just mentioned, you're struggling to pay yourself to survive, pay your bills. And then at the same time, you need capital to grow your business. Otherwise, you're gonna be bootstrapped. So how were those days for you? What were you doing, to keep yourself at it, don't quit, and just keep going?
Yeah, man. So there were some times when I first got started, I sold all my electronics. I, had a really nice, successful job as a salesperson selling cell phones. I was a college kid. My rent was $300 a month, and I had a bunch of crap, TVs,
Yeah.
games. Like I had this gaming chair that would like move around and blah, blah, blah. And some people think that's crazy, but then they're probably listening to this on $1,000 phone, if we're being real, And so
Right.
a lot of people are like, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I'm like, you're watching me on a $500 phone, $1,000 phone. Like you have money. You're just not using it wisely. You're not able to create more. And that's a low value thought that I would love to exchange for a high value thought, which is you can create your own money. And so when I started getting to that mindset, I was like, okay, making money is like pushing a button. If you push a button, money will come, but there's like billions of buttons and some people just only know 1 or 2 buttons. But, I've been very blessed to be very creative with my fundraising, and I've never taken on investor. I've never taken on any investment. I've had some, friendly loans here or there, but nothing official, nothing like that. Never sold any equity, nothing like that. If you think that I used to think that a business partner or an investor was going to save me from all my stuff. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And even if it did, then I'd have like basically a wife or a husband, depending on the situation. And I don't know if I want to enter that kind of engagement, and maybe my work life would suffer if I was that. But I thought like that back when I was, young and inexperienced to this game. So I've sold furniture, I've sold televisions, I've sold my clothes, I've, taken odd jobs. I was a bouncer at a bar, like checking the ID. So not the bouncer, but like the little verification guy with like the big dude next to you, so I did that. And, getting people to come in, I did that for a little bit just to pay salaries, man. There were some times where I wasn't able to do that. One time I sold timeshares for 2 weeks. I sold timeshares, man. It was the shadiest job ever. And I knew timeshares were shady, but I didn't know why timeshares were shady until after doing that. When I realized what was going on, I was like, man, I don't know. I can't do this. So I just like resigned, but I made a lot of money doing it. I was like, this is crazy. I didn't know people would like spend money like that. So I leveraged my skills. So from that takeaway, I would love your audience to take away, leverage your skills. What are your strengths? Don't focus on your weaknesses, double down on your strengths. If you're at the point where you're like hustling or struggling or just trying to make it happen, what skills are you strong at? Double down on those to get you to where you can focus on your weakness and then grow. That's the methods and tactics that I took on my.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned something really important too, is I think because I went through this as well. I mean, I think that a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people that are listening actually, when we are struggling, we're having that bad moment and we don't have the cash that we need. Sometimes, the pride on us doesn't let us give that step back and, hey, I need to go get a job and just pay the bills while my side hustle keeps growing. So, I'm proud that you took that step, because that's the lead example that I've been talking about recently. A lot of people think that that's something not to be proud of, or that's, once you go entrepreneur, you can't go back. It's like, well, you can, if you have to do whatever it takes to go, keep going.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So the way I see it, bottom line is if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you choose to that, because you choose to be an entrepreneur, no one's born entrepreneur. Most people are born an employee, and you go to work, you get a paycheck, you do your time and you clock out, you have weekends off. You're sane for the most part. The world is normal. But if you're an entrepreneur, then you've kind of chosen a lifestyle that only one way is going to make you truly happy. And if that's you, great. If not, great too, but it's good to know that first and foremost. So first, you got to know what you want. And I knew from a young age that that's what I wanted. I wanted to go after that kind of lifestyle. So yeah, man, totally agree with you. Clarity is everything.
Gotcha. So did you ever have one of those moments where you just felt like quitting and just go get a regular 9 to 5 and stop all this madness and stress?
Yeah, man. One time I just franchised my second location for the suntan business. I had way too many employees that were all older than me. I was like 23 at the time, super young. My rent for my places was like $2,000 at one place, $4,000 at the other. We just dropped $70,000 on the build out. Then we had to go back and get like a $25,000 sign. And this was like all in the matter of like a month. And it's just like ridiculous. And there was just so much going on. And I was like, man, there's just like all this money coming out and it's not anything coming in right now because this is an expansion. And then I've got, it was just growing pains and things were just like a lot. And at that time I was like, you know what if I just got a job? I'm 23 years old. I've never had a happy hour. I've never been on vacation. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it's like to wait for 5 o'clock to go have a beer. Like that doesn't make sense to me, and I was just like, I would have those thoughts and then I would feel like guilty and weird because like, why am I having those thoughts? But looking back now, those are normal. It's normal to have those thoughts. Like if you're not having those thoughts, you're probably freaking crazy, So realize that you're crazy. Realize that being an entrepreneur is a choice and you signed up for this. Don't blame anybody. Don't blame any outside circumstance. Don't blame anything externally. Take 100% and full 100% responsibility for your position, your actions, your habits, your responsibilities, and it'll be easy. You just got to do it every single day. Like I now take my days in different chunks. Like, oh, this is a chunk of my day where I'm going to work until my laptop dies. Then I'm going to go work out. And this is the chunk of my day where I'm going to go really hard in the gym. This is a chunk of my day where I'm going to do this and this and this. Like I accept that that's how I tick and that's how I operate. That's what puts the bounce in my step. And again, going back to your point with clarity, the more clear you are, the more you're able to, hit that target every single day. And that's kind of how I handle those situations. But yeah, man, it gets tough. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it's easy because it's not.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you. And I appreciate, being honest and being transparent because that's what this show is all about. I want to bust that myth of overnight success and really talk about what really goes behind success. Because even though, many of our listeners know, like I'm still in the trenches, I'm still going through it. And while I was going through it, you keep seeing everybody with their Lambo or the big houses that you don't know they rented just for the day for the photo shoot, but they make us think that, they just started the business about a month ago and now they're crushing it. So, that's the whole deal about why we do what we do. So I appreciate what you sharing everything. And I just want to, talk a little bit. I know your clarity is towards your lifestyle, which is something very interesting that I'm a big fan of working towards a lifestyle versus money, because I think lifestyle is the ultimate happiness. But let's compare it a little bit. What does a Monday look now for you? And what did it look like back in the day when you were barely starting?
And that's the thing. So for me, just like you brought up, like you feel like you're in the trenches still. I still feel like I'm in the trenches. Like I'll never leave that feeling. I'm just constantly in that same mode where it's like whatever. So honestly, today feels the same as it did 10 years ago when I just started doing this stuff. It was like, waking up, guiding your team, getting your mind right, working out, eating healthy, making sure to get your protein shakes, your vitamins, your meals, your veggies, all that stuff, just keeping your body fit first. And then attacking the day. And the way that I did it then and the way I do it now is all through mobile applications. So you mentioned that I have a certain lifestyle that I designed, that this is something that I wanted. I don't bestow it on anybody else. I don't recommend it for anybody else. I just recommend it for me. I think it's pretty freaking awesome, if I'm being honest. And I love it. I love my life. And with being clear, like you had brought up earlier, having that clarity and saying that this is where I'm headed towards, this is my lifestyle, the income will put itself there. to match your desire. So always think about what do you want first, have that clarity, aim for that, and everything else will fall into place. But yeah, man, getting that over that first hump is, once you do it the first time, you know that it's a skill, you know it's doable again. And it's like after you rode your bike for the first time, you know. Some people start their business and then they never hit success. I was lucky to have success in my first business, and then I started failing after my first successes. I was like, what's wrong with this? And so for me, it was really hard to understand that because I only understood success. But some people only understand failure, or what seems to be failure, and they haven't experienced success, and they haven't been able to go past that next hump. So listen to stuff like this, staying focused. And to answer your question, what does my Monday look like? My Monday looks the same, man. I wake up, I get myself straight, I get my mind right, my body right, and then I hit it. I hit it to as hard as I can go, because I know 10 years from now, I'm still going to do the same thing that I was doing 20 years from then, you know?
That's awesome. I like that, man. I like the hustle in you. It doesn't stop, and it doesn't, it's a long-term game, and you're still the same guy that, you were motivated 10 years ago.
Yeah, man, just got a little bit more swag now.
So what would you say right now, with the current lifestyle you're doing, what would you change in your life? Is there anything that you don't like that you're working on changing?
So right now I'm eliminating the communication from my clients on a day-to-day basis. And it's very challenging because I do some high ticket stuff, or what some people would call high ticket. And, they're paying a certain amount, but they want to speak very regularly. And I'm like, hey, like, I'm not here to teach you rocket science, because what we do is rocket science. If you're really deep in the game of at least social media marketing, it is rocket science. It takes a lot. It's like, hey, I'm not in the business of teaching you rocket science. I'm in the business of taking you to the moon. So let me go ahead and do my thing. I need to be here. We can communicate in these certain ways. So I use Slack, video calls like we do right now. They're scheduled. There's like, an agenda. It's like really tight, because I value my time, man. Like, the more time that I'm spent on phone calls or, talking about nothing, that's less time I get to experience my life, which I work so hard to create for myself. So right now, that's something that I'm, tweaking. And for me, it's, not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I just accepted that I can maneuver this however I like. And that's something that I don't want. So I've got to, put the process into maneuvering out of my lifestyle, getting the result that I want, getting the outcome that my client wants, everyone's happy, and then move on. So that's kind of my current challenge that I'm working through, which I'm enjoying the process of. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. It sounds challenging, but it sounds like fun too. So excited to, let me know how that goes. Hopefully we can hear the update in a few months and see if you were able to get rid of that part. So I want to ask you something that is very fascinating to me every time we ask to everybody, because everybody's answer is very different. What do you think is the secret to your success?
Gotcha. Yeah, man. The secret to my success is that I'm a student of the game. My name on social media is the talented Mr. Salas, because I can do a bunch of different things, allegedly and supposedly. I only do for me, I only do one thing very well. I'm only talented at one thing, and that's hard work, man. If there's a job that needs to be done, I take the necessary action. I invest in the necessary skills, all that, to make sure that it gets done. It gets done the right way. Then for me, I put a system behind it. I put a process behind it, and I put people behind it. And then I walk away, and I'm still collecting money off of this machine. This machine's still blowing up for me, and I'm moving on to my next thing, because I've got an ADD brain, man. I'm a kid of I'm a millennial kid, I'm a millennial kid with like the world at my fingertips. Literally, I can create whatever company I want. I can go into whatever sector I'd like. I can live anywhere in the world. And for me, the way I design my lifestyle, that's where I want to take it. And I'm just enjoying the process.
That's awesome. And I feel like if we go deep on this topic, we're going to do like a whole different episode. So I don't want to go very deep on this tactics, but it's very fascinating to me to hear it. Hopefully later on we can do something, maybe a Facebook Live or something, talk a little more in depth about that. But, it's fascinating to hear the passion and the hustle in your voice as well. So with, now that I heard a little bit more about your background, your clarity, and your mindset, I want to move forward to what I like to call the hustle round, where we're going to play this word game. I'm going to throw a word at you, and the very first word that comes to mind, that's what we're going to say out loud. Does that sound fun?
I just got a quick question. Is this an explicit rating on iTunes?
Yeah, we can say whatever we want.
All right, cool.
Awesome. Let's hit it. Hustle.
Hard.
Employee.
Never.
Boss.
Man.
College.
No way.
Fear.
Never.
Weakness.
Sometimes.
Strengths.
Always.
Motivation.
Every day.
Books.
Always.
Last but not least, Frank Salas.
Your boy.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. Appreciate, you did really good.
Yeah, man. That's like a little improv game. I dig it. It was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Get you out of your bubble, get you out of your comfort zone. You've probably been asked many of the questions before, and it's like, this is my only one that I get a chance to really step you out of your comfort zone.
I liked it. It was fun, man.
Cool. So, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today. You really brought a lot of gold nuggets to everyone that is listening. I appreciate it, man. But I would love if you could take a few seconds and just share with everybody, with all the hustlers that are listening to us. Maybe they are starting their business. Maybe they still have a 9-to-5. They're not at the point where they want to be. What would you tell them, a few motivational hustling words from you to keep pushing and to keep going after they succeed?
Absolutely. If you guys are in a position where you want to take a journey down the entrepreneurial path, I'll just kind of share with you my mindset. Maybe it resonates with you, maybe it doesn't. But when I was 20 years old, I was going to my last year of college, and I was like, okay, after I get this degree, then what? Like, the average job for me is going to be paying me like 40 to 60 grand if I'm lucky. And I'm already making 90 grand as salesperson. And I want to start my own business because me being a salesperson already taught me the skill of generating new business. And I saw that I was only making 90 grand, but the companies that I'm working with off of my work were making millions of dollars. And I was like, that doesn't sound fair. And then like the whole employee, boss, manager, hierarchy, structure, all of that just hit me. And I was like, man, people sign up for this. And then I started realizing, I had the foresight to realize that, back in the 60s and 50s, if you went to a company, you could work there for 40 years, you would get a pension, you would get a gold watch, and you get a check come every month. And that shit don't happen no more, man. That's not how companies are. People like me outsource stuff to different parts of the world. Jobs are being deployed different areas. We're importing more than we're taking in. The world's not working like that. You cannot go to most companies, 99.9% of companies, and get a gold watch and retire and get a pension. It just doesn't exist anymore. We don't live in that reality. We don't live in that economy. So the second that you accept that and realize that if you're working towards college, if you're working off this, if you have some kind of antiquated mindset, that's from the last millennium, literally the last 2,000 years. We're in the new millennium and things are completely different. You literally have the world at your fingertips. You could build anything that you would like if you so choose and you commit to, putting the work behind it. That's just bottom line. If you're able to commit to the process, everyone's journey is different, but it's your own journey. So it doesn't matter what, who has whatever Lambo rented, leased, owned, whatever, it doesn't matter, because whether they have that Lambo or not, you still got to rock your own path, bottom line. And that's what I would like to leave your audience with.
That's awesome. Yeah, very true, man. So how can people connect with you? How can they find out more about Mr. Talented Salas?
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and you can find me on Facebook. That's where I'm most active, at Talented Mr. Salas. I also have a YouTube channel. I'm everywhere at Talented Mr. Salas. You can find me on Snapchat at Talented Mr. Salas. I'll show a bunch of my adventures when I'm traveling the world. It's mostly personal for me there. My Instagram's cool. It's got a bunch of photos of my travels. You'll see me like last year, I was in Spain, Acapulco, Mexico, Playa del Carmen. I was in Medellin, Colombia. I was just traveling the world, man. And I just put up cool stuff that I saw, funny stuff. It was random stuff. And then like a few motivational tips, a few business tips, different mindset hacks, different business hacks. Sometimes I upload my entire Snapchat day just to be like, yo, go check out my Snapchat. It's pretty cool. You see some cool stuff. So yeah, just follow me out there. I definitely have a lot of, podcasts, a lot of interviews that I do just like this, but I also do master classes where I get very technical and I show you the actual meat and bones and how to do these things. And I love going deep in. It's like, yo, you want to learn something cool? Close off all your browsers. Follow me. I'm better than the NBA game. I'm better than the NFL game. I'm better than watching Empire. Instead of watching Empire, why not build your own empire? And those are the kind of classes that I like to, perform and do. So make sure you guys follow me. Definitely would love to help you guys out and, share on your journey.
That's awesome. And I'll also make sure that we link everything on the show notes at thehustleshow.co/THS40. So you'll be a click away from connected with Frank. So Frank, again, thank you so very much for being here with us today. It was a real pleasure to have you. Such an honor to hear your inspiration, your message, and in helping me bust this bubble, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the Hustle Show audio experience. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And even if you didn't, make sure you subscribe to the podcast right now. It's still free. Visit thehustleshow.co for all the show notes and to watch the video experience of this episode. We'll see you soon.